Beep, beep. What is up, ninjas? My name is Sam World and welcome to Deceiver Volume 4. Now, first off, let me say thank you guys so much for using the first 3 in the series. It means the world to me that you guys trust my sounds enough to use them in your own productions. Now, for Deceiver Volume 4, I wanted to bring a fresh new batch of sounds for you guys for Serum as well as samples. Now, usually the way I'll go about creating the sound set for Serum is I'll go on Beatport and I'll look at the current top tech house tracks. Now I'll hear all of them and from there pick a few select reference tracks that I want to kind of use to really help me shape the sounds that are going to be in the Soundbank. From there, I'll go on YouTube and listen to some tech house sets from DJs like John Summit, West End, Tita Lau, James Hype, Chris Lake, and many more. Now for the Serum presets, it's going to be a total of 160. And the first ones that you're going to run into are going to be the additive basses. Now, the purpose of these additive basses is going to be to accentuate your bass to make it sound a lot more interesting. For instance, here we're going to have a little loop I've created using some of the stuff found in the pack, and it's going to sound like this. Now, the idea of the additive basses that you're going to find in the pack is to accentuate your main bass. And the way we're going to do this is easily you can copy and paste some of the bass line over, and then from there pick a couple of notes that you think might sound good. Now, of course, with a bunch of the patches, you're also going to have mod reels, which I suggest you explore a little bit because sometimes you might find really cool automations that might sound cool for your track. For instance, let's try a couple of them out. Now here we have a couple of variations that we can do with the first mod. The first thing we can do is we can let the bass play out, and as we approach the end of the 4 bars, we can increase this up to create a little bit of tension, suspense before we bring it back. As you can see, that makes the bass sound a lot more alive, and it makes the track a lot more interesting to listen to. Here's another additive bass called Minker that we can utilize as well. Okay, so as you're going to see, most of them are going to have mods that you can kind of play around with. From here, let's play a couple of them out like Shanghai. So those are going to be some of the additive bass lines that you're going to find inside of the pack. The last one I'll show is a free cultured one, which is going to be more of a bass shot sort of sound from one of the vintage cultured tracks, but it's going to sound like sort of like slap house bass, but it just works really good in the track that they use it for. Now from there, we're going to move on to our bass lines found in the pack. And in the bass lines, you're going to find your traditional tech house basses. Now, when it comes to tech house, it seems like the basses haven't really evolved that much. We're still kind of sticking with the meta of utilizing the traditional analog wavetables as they're going to provide the most power. So when looking inside of Deceiver Volume 4, you're going to find a lot of bass lines that are going to follow the current meta. But what we've done differently for this pack is, one, we've put a little bit more effort into the processing of the basses so that they sound fat from the get-go. From there, some of the mods will kind of add a bit of mid-lows if needed, in case you're going super low. So let's kind of check these out. The first one we have here is called 4 subs, 1 track. Now, with the mods, you're going to be able to kind of add overtones in case you want a bit more of that meatier sound, a bit more mid-low, dirtier. You're going to be able to change the tone, the wavetables, and also add a bit of FM. That's why this patch is called 4 subs, 1 track. Now, if we use it in the track, let's say maybe you could play something like. Now let's go to a lower key. Now here you might see like the bass line maybe sounds a little too friendly for the track. So let's bring in a bit of the FM. And then from there, we can also choose to change the wavetable. Maybe change a bit of the FM, add some overtones to that. Now let's see what else we have here. From there, we're going to have obviously A Drug from God, which is a traditional. Here's another bass line called Acid Ballerina. And from there, we add a bit of the bots. Let's open it up. We can add a bit of attack to the top part of the sound and even make it a little longer so that you can kind of shape the sound to what you want. Of course, we have a mod. So from here, we can keep going. We have a bass for low keys, which the next bass we have here is called Devoted, and I'm going to add a little bit of decapitator saturation to give it a bit of warmth. From there, we do have a couple of mods like the cutoff. And from there, we can mess with the decay. And it's going to be a really cool kind of sound to kind of play around with. From there, we have one called Duro, based on Sid. The next bass we have here is one called FM Classic, which is going to sound like this. The next bass we have here is called Sosa, inspired by a track by Sosa, parentheses UK. From the traditional bass lines, going a little bit more down, we're going to approach the next set of bass lines, and those are going to be called knocks. Now, knocks are going to be based on, let's say, 808 style kind of kicks, where it sort of sounds like. But when utilized in the pack, what I recommend you guys do is you can play with the release. You can shorten it to make it more of a traditional thump, or you can add a bit of release to kind of have it elongate. So if you add release, you can do stuff like this. A little bit of dirty verb vibes, but we can also do really cool stuff like this. And then if you have a high release, what you can do is you can play some of the notes that you want to release further very, very, very fast. So it sounds something like this. The last knock I'll show you is called Mamalona, and there's going to be a lot more to discover in the pack, but this one sounds pretty characterful. Now, with these, of course, we're going to have mono compatibility as we're utilizing a band pad here to clean it, because if I get rid of this, it becomes a mess. So we want to have a little bit of composure. From there, you can utilize the mod to kind of change the sound up a bit. But this is going to be one of the more characterful ones you're going to find in the pack. From there, we're also going to have a set of chord stabs. Now, chord stabs are going to be pretty much sounds that are going to be stacked to sound very melodic. +7, and it's going to sound like this. So that's going to be 1. From there, we have co-side. Higher octave. And then we can play with the cutoff. They're going to be very anthemic, classic sounds, and they always work in a track. The next one we have is called CH Give It To Me. We can change it to a more soft format. And then from there we can saturate. Alright, the opener delay. Let's open it up a bit. Okay, and then back to square. This was going a bit too low, but this is CH Give It To Me. From there, Gloomy Drives. Okay, we can unwiden. And then we can also make it aggressive. A very aggressive sound, which I've heard in some tech house tracks. From there, we're going to have a ton more, like one housey moment. And of course, a lot of opportunities to automate some stuff with the mods. So the courses are going to contain some of that. From there, I'll show you guys one more, and we'll do maybe two called the Roses. From there, let's add a 6. Cut the lows. Okay, a very powerful sound, only for specific tech house tracks that can handle it, as I like to say. The traditional one sounds swell, just made it sound really clean. And from there, I'll show you guys the one that I like a lot called White Beauty. It has a lot of movement. Okay, we can make it punchier. And of course, we can make it mono for the people. Okay, and then again, unpunchy it. Which is going to be more for housey sort of tech house, like the more houseier side. But those are going to be some of the chord stabs. From there, we do have a couple of effects. We're going to have ending pitch up. Okay, let's keep going. This one's just more for like a track that needs some sort of like movement in it. Okay. Very harsh analog lasers. Okay. Noise timer. Pack death. And we can change that for the tracks that are tired of that. And you guys want to show them who's boss, then this is the patch for you, okay? So those are going to be some of the effects. There's a lot, not a lot more, but a couple more to kind of go. But a lot of effort wasn't put into the effects. I wanted to make the leads, the knocks, the basses sound the best. So from there, let's go into the leads. The first one here we have is an acid sound. So again, it's crucial that you play around with the mods. Here we have more. We can switch up the sound. Let's put this down an octave. Now going on with the leads here, we have one called Big Rumor, and of course, you know, we have to add the traditional sound people want, so this one's just a little bit of a different vibe. Okay, from there we can make it sound a little Melbourne-y. The reverse, can get rid of that reverse if needed. And of course, it's going to be a mod. So in case you want to play something like you can add that into the patch. From there, we have Bibi the Clown. Just a very quirky sound. Booty FM. Okay, which is going to be a very kind of darkish sound. Here's a lead called Booyah. Very strong lead for a very aggressive tech house track. Here we have a lead called Chinga Su Madre. And it's just going to be more acidy, but from there we have Close on Me. And then we can make it wide if needed. So Sounds a little bit like Fisher, but that's not what I intended with this sound. From there, we have the lead called Crunchy Saw, which you guys have heard in one of the tutorials. Up an octave higher. It's probably one of my favorite sounds in the pack. Definitely inspired by Fat Massimo because he does this where he has a +7, but this one's just going to be a little bit more up there. And then we have that mod to create, but we can also push it further, which some tech house tracks have done, and those are the more like explorative ones. Here we're just sampling a trumpet, and it's called Chim Trumpet for a reason, because once you play it like really, sounds like a cheap contact library in a sense, but as long as you play it somewhat like not doing like, you know, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it sounds a little better if you want, and we can add, again, very cheesy, but it's there. Dusty Acid, very traditional kind of acid. Okay, G thing, I don't know this melody. Yeah, I don't know how to play that melody, but that's what it's inspired from. Let's play a lower octave. And that's going to be lead like a G thing. That's going to be more of a Juno sound, kind of old schooly, but and a very clean saw for those of you guys that are looking for like that older stuff to mimic some of the older melodies. And here we have Lame God. I really don't know how to do the Shepherd tone in Serum, but those are going to be some of the leads in the pack. There's going to be a lot more like Patagonia 5. It's going to be like a chip tone kind of lead, but instead we utilize a saw for that. From there, we are going to have this really cool one called Pulse Funk. Those are going to be some of the Serum presets that you're going to find in the pack. There's going to be a ton more to explore, as there's going to be a total of 160 that you're going to find inside Deceiver Volume 4. From there, we're going to move on to the construction kits. In this pack, there's going to be a total of 7. Now, the idea of the construction kits is going to be to utilize what you need from them. For instance, let's say that I want to start a track and I just want to be fast about it. I'm going to set the BPM I have here to one of the construction kits that I liked. From there, I'm going to drop a couple of things down just to kind of help me get an idea of what kind of groove I can create. So that way I have something like and from there, you can start to create your own bass on top of that. And then from there, you can switch out if you want. But the idea of them is just going to be to kind of get you started in case you want to create something like cool. There's going to be a total of 7, and you can hear 5 of them over on the website at evilsounds.com. But some of them are just going to sound very cool. We're going to have, of course, the trumpet one here, which is going to sound like so. So those are going to be some of the construction kits. And again, you can grab anything you want from them, maybe the drums, the vocal, or the main melody line. From there, we're going to have the sample pack. Now, the sample pack is going to contain bass loops, which are going to be there to help you get started in case you want to utilize them. From there, there's also going to be drum fills. Now, there's going to be a lot more short ones than long ones, to be honest, because the long ones just always seem to be the traditional. those sorts. But the short ones are going to sound like this. Okay, then from there we are going to have drum loops. Now we're going to have some top loops, which are going to sound like this. From there, we're also going to have drum one shots for you guys, like claps with different vibes, close hats, kicks, open hats, percussion, rides, and of course, snares. There's also going to be effects in the pack like crashes, downlifters, effects one shots, which are so you guys can utilize those in any way that you please, and of course transitional elements like downlifters. And uplifters. From the effects, now we're going to have a couple of instrumental loops, synths, and of course the vocal samples. So the instrumental loops are just going to be a couple of ideas like so organic sort of instruments. For you guys to utilize, and of course synth loops like okay, and then from there, we're going to have the vocal samples, which are going to be a ton for you guys to utilize. We got an addiction to the bass groove, to the drums, to the rave life. And of course, some longer ones from Semenga himself.
I just want to snack some pills. LSD and ecstasy get me high. I just want to snack some pills.
I might look like a Rasta. I'm a feeling real of a faster. And Rasta man is a feeling. Rasta man can't believe in.
I can make you dance with a beat like this. Move your body in the streets like a freak, freak, freak.
Don't mind as long as I do, girl. Shh. I know everything will be alright.
Distress yourself. Dance like nobody is watching.
And finally, there's going to be a couple of sampled vocals that you can use.
Back.
House.
Kick it.
You just put the needle on a really unique record album.
Enjoy this trip.
6 million ways to die. Choose one.
What you gonna play now?
It's like this.
To the beat, Joe!
For you guys to utilize. But with all of that, guys, that's going to be Deceiver Volume 4. So I hope you enjoyed checking it out. If you find there's a lot of great sounds in here that you can see yourself using, consider supporting it over at evilsounds.com. As always, thank you guys so much for your support. Sen is dead from working on the pack for 2 months, and I hope that it helps you guys evolve your sound. With that being said, I'll catch you guys next time for another video. You guys take care and peace out.
got the funk junkie.